Spirituality is being aware of a presence that's transcendent of everything, all day, every day, for the rest of your life. Remember being a child when you'd run around with your friends, you're 3 or 4 years old, and it's hard to bring those memories back because we didn't have memories. The conditioning process began sometime around that time, maybe remember being in a crib like myself at 2 weeks old or this or that, and that's the beginning of the world colliding in, it's a collision process falling in on us to make us believe that it's here, because as all spiritual people know, this is not. There's only an openness, infinite, unvarying, calm purity, and you understand everything. You're never lost. There was a song, Hallelujah, by Leonard Cohen, right? And he wrote about how he talked about how it took him a year to write that. And most of his music was that way. If you're very creative, very spiritual, you understand what that meant. It's not because he was like that, it's you had to experience. All great artists, poets, whatever. A great mother, it takes a long time to comprehend things, digest it, and make things work out correctly. As a spiritual person, we take on the calamity, the stress, the pain, the trauma of everyone around us all day, every day, waiting for that one moment, that one hallelujah moment where we can help a friend or loved one step out of the shell of conditioning. That never was, because in spirituality, this never was. Only this unimaginable presence. I'm going to move through this in 2 minutes, the fact that the world, and then get back to the spiritual presence of it, that the world is infinitely, like you can imagine the smallest subatomic particle, and infinitely smaller than that. And this is my direct experience, as well as all the truly spiritual people in the world, that the world is an illusion. Doesn't mean we're not being crippled by it, but if we understand that the illusion means if you know that, then you can live through it. It's the old idea of a bodhisattva, that you're not going to stop incarnating until the last person is free of the grip of deceit of the world. The point being, yes, it seems to exist, and it does exist, and for those of us who are spiritual, it's utterly painful and traumatic. It's trying to condition us around the clock, but we've allowed an infinite pure presence called God, eternity, heaven, called you. Mostly it's called you, isn't it you? We allowed ourselves to incarnate as it were, and so the conditioning fell upon us and fell upon us. We had an accident with a baseball with a friend, or a jumping rope, or whatever it was, or a bicycle accident when we're 7 and hurt our arm. And then it all collected and collected. And the older you get, the time goes by so quickly because the conditioning is so continuous, and we have so much to weigh it upon, right? So much conditioning. As a spiritual person, you were never here. A spiritual person can look at us and they're not here. They never were, they never could be. I'm trying to explain why the world that seems to exist is a hell. It's called Maya, the illusion in Sanskrit, meaning that the true spiritual presence you are translates through all this, and you can do anything, and you will do everything, and you will wrap this whole thing up. You'll undo the conditioning in your life, all of it. Nothing's in the way. We just have to understand to not give the conditioning process anything. We're made of pure spirit, light, kindness. It's very simple to be you, the true you, the real you. And it's unimaginably powerful in the sense of dealing with the earth god or the earth gods. There are no gods at all. When you're very pure, very quiet, doesn't mean that you think you're a saint, very pure. You're not relating to any of this, and you transcend through it in this beauteous calm and purity of experience. It's like a soft wind coming from the west in the morning, and it just moves your flowers a little bit. That's who you are, and that's more powerful than all the forces of the earth. You're holy, you're pure, you're understanding, you're kind, you're holy and precious. And yet to you yourself, you're as nothing. Not a thought, not a glimmer of light. You're just through all this. And then through all this, there's an exquisite experience of the endless universe that the wise still call God. It's so wonderful to be you. And there's nothing historic about this. It's forget history. You're born at a specific point in time where you're going to unravel all the conditioning for everyone. That's the mission. That's why you're here. So you're not just spiritual. I guess Gandhi would call you a great soul. We're all here to not be here. This must end. You can use words like justice, that it all, but it's so much more than that. That's a worldly term. But that will happen. There'll be no more evildoers when you just allow yourself to expand through the living ethers. Please allow yourself to expand through the living ethers. Your cause is just and right and true. You want to end all the pain, all the trauma, all the hardship for every person, every precious child. And that shall you do. Spirituality is ending all this mess forever. It's not other than, different than that. You're good, you're true, you're pure. You're unconditioned by this world or any world. You're a very fine human being. No so-called genius in the world, no learned being can compete with a mind open to the Eternal One. Do you understand? There have been saints and seers throughout history that we're familiar with, their writings or teachings that understood all this, and the point this morning is that it's over on your watch. It's just, this is a pinpoint in eternity where it's just time to end it forever. So all the great ones of history are with you now. But there is no history or great one. There's not even a now in this timeless moment. Your purity, your holiness is visible to our friend and our God, the God of heaven. And through you, it's now the God of earth, that to be time no longer, that the mystery of God should be finished. This last watch of ours is very painful in our heart and soul, because we know all the people around us, this one is that far along, that one the other, and if you're in a business or family relationship, you wear it all. Unimaginable pain, and you'll wear it so well. I'm saying this that we all understand that this is final warfare with the dark forces. So we'll wake up this one, that one, the other one, in and around our neighborhood, and we're going to clean up the streets because it is our neighborhood. But the neighborhood isn't here. The world never was or could be. And that's our truth. From that, we will find ways to lift the understanding, the wisdom, vibration, as it were, of all those around us to stop vibrating and give the world nothing. One last breath, one last look back. And we're gone. You've already risen. You've allowed this to collect around you. To take the decent around us in this world with us. To decondition. To reaffirm our eternal truth. Point again, you volunteered as an infinite presence to be poured into this mold and then to understand it. And the first grabbing it had at us was a child, right? This happened, that happened, and then at older age, it's like this. It's endless, and time moves like that unless you're in tune with the infinite, and you're in tune with the infinite. So your conditioning stopped a long time ago. You're going to absorb all the pain and trauma for everyone by understanding it throughout this world, and you're going to drag those, if we have to, who should understand with us, back onto the open road to our Father and our friend. You are the holiness of eternity, incarnate as it were, but you're not if you let go of the conditioning. It's like in India or Buddhism, they would say, not this, not that. No thought, no experience, no feeling, no perception. Even great visions are worthy of our attention. We just you let go of every thought, every feeling, every sense, every memory, all day, though there were no day. You'll see God all night, beyond night, beyond nightfall. The endless purity of this perception is inescapable. It can't be comprehended or understood or explained in human terms. You are that. Look what a great divine hero you are to heaven. You allowed yourself to fall into this one infinitesimal place called a hell, supported by or created by this one lost being called Satan, that it's a little quivering mass that makes all thought and perception and the world itself seem as real. And if you can understand that, and you're in great poetry, or wake up in an early spring morning, hold the hand of the one you love, walk through the park or the woods, and everything's lighter than air. You see, when you're in the great forest and there's no one there and the weather's kind of okay, it's just a mystical presence because the human conditioning isn't around it. And let go of the human conditioning. like Leonard told us. Hallelujah. It's something so grand, so wonderful. It's called illumination, spirituality, enlightenment, nirvana, the beatific vision, the vision of God. It's the vision of you. You are that. And again, this infinitesimal place is created by this lost little being that creates all the perception. And as real as the world may seem, if you're spiritual, what's real is your heart, your love, beauty, appreciation of beauty, right? So you'll transcend through all this. This doesn't have to be explained to those of us who are spiritual. We look through it all the time. The way we do when we're in love, when we care, when we trust. We're not our body, we are our soul. We're not even our soul, we're that. We're born at the most propitious time, that there be time no longer. Time that creates the conditioning, and this little thing called Satan, the devil, just gather that thing up and give it nothing, and all your perception will stop of the world. And then when you help others, you'll create a quiet by just pulling this thing off and help them unravel their conditioning process. You'll listen, you'll acknowledge, and at the point you'll express directly from God and lift your friends and loved ones out of the morass of conditioning. That's your singular purpose, the only reason we're born here. You're God's greatest gift. Your wisdom, your understanding, your perception of reality is God. And the closer you get to God, the more infinitely pure God becomes. And the more it becomes you, and the more humble you become. One day, maybe one evening, in the near future, you'll disappear. God bless your holiness, your purity, your simplicity. It's not a teaching, it's you'll end all the madness, all the evil. This is the only weapon you'll need. If you're spiritual, you understand this. You're spiritual, you understand this. Thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Mr. Skolton.